What up, everybody? ETA and the EUC. It's currently July 15th. It is 4:33 p.m. Before we get started, before I start my shift out, I just kind of want to get some housekeeping things out the way. And there's actually like a lot that I want to talk about. Like I have a lot of stuff that happened since I last recorded. So I actually wrote them down, so I'll just do some pinpoints here real quick, and then, you know, if you don't want to see this, if you don't want to hear this, then you can just skip. All right, so the first one, crash with the EUC. All right, so a couple weeks ago, I think it was like either Friday or Saturday. I think it was around maybe 11 p.m. or so. I can't really remember, but it was the last order of my shift. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this last order or whatever. And it ended up being a stack, I remember. I went to this one place off 14th Street. And so I went to go get the food. After I picked up the food, I was heading towards the Merchant on 14th. Okay, so I'm gonna leave an image here to make this a little easier to see, but it was like a one-lane road, right? And you have traffic going one way, you have traffic going the other. I was on the left-hand side where the traffic was coming towards me, only because I was gonna take a left. There was actually I think it was an SUV. It was going the same direction as me, but on the opposite side of the street. And he must have not saw me, because literally probably like 15 feet ahead of me, he did a very sharp U-turn and he went across the double line, so it was illegal. And I was going about 20, 25 miles an hour. And it came so quick and like such a short duration in front of me that I had no choice but to basically veer off to the left towards the curb and just basically ditch my EUC. So I knew if I was gonna try to stop, I was gonna broadside him on the driver's side. So I just like took that sharp left so I didn't hit him. And what that ended up happening, the EUC ran into the curb. I jumped off the EUC and basically, you know, going about 20, 25. Luckily, you know, I landed on my feet and I kind of ran as I hit the ground real hard. You know, stomped my feet, ran a little bit. I mean, the EUC, it hit hard. It ended up doing like a couple flips. So I didn't see it behind me, but I could hear it. You know, you can hear something when it hits and it goes boom, 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 like that. So it hit hard. It was the hardest hit the EUC has ever taken. And once again, this is the Sherman Max. Now, I wasn't mad at the guy because, like I said, we were both kind of in the wrong here. First of all, you know, he took a sharp U-turn in the middle of a road across a double line street, and you can't do that, right? You know, it's definitely against the law. So he did that, but I was riding on the opposite side, right? I was riding towards traffic, right? So we're both on the wrong. So I didn't yell at him. I just kind of looked back like, damn, dude, like, fuck. And basically I say this story because I'll show you the damages that happened. Basically, it was like the lower end of the right side of the EUC got damaged, the roll bar. And that roll bar basically saved the EUC's life, man. Like, that thing came in clutch. Like, I'm pretty sure if this was my 16X, it would have been in shambles. But, you know, that thing really saved the body of the EUC, I think. So that roll cage, legit. And so that happened. The other damage was, I have these front two, here, I'll show you real quick. Yeah, so if you look down, you can see those two little stoppers on the front. You know, those are aftermarket things. It doesn't even go with the EUC, but, you know, I looked online, I bought them, and it's basically for when you want to park your EUC and you don't want to park it against the wall, you can park it like forward, and it would like park like that. It has something to stand on. It's basically stands. Anyway, I think those actually help protect it on the crash too, because on the side of it's dented up a little bit where those stoppers are. So I think those actually help too protect it when it did that tumble. What else? The back part is kind of chipped. It chipped off the body a little bit. The light wasn't working, but that's only because it was unplugged. So I just plugged it back in, the front light, and it was working again. And part of the plastic was a little off balance, but I fixed it. Anyway, basically, for the speed at which the EUC was going and for that impact and for the way it hit the curb, I doubt I'm gonna get something that bad again. I mean, that was a really bad crash, and it was pure cement, you know. It's nothing soft stopping the EUC. If you guys are worried about durability, don't be. This thing is a fucking beast. I would probably say this thing is the most durable EUC you can get on the market. Not the Max, just the Sherman. Just because of the way it's built, man. Like, I opened it up, the batteries are fine, nothing was out of place. It was fine. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about is I installed new pedals on here, because that was actually the other thing that was kind of damaged. It was like, which I'll show you a picture. The right pedal, I think when it did a flip, it popped open and it must have hit the cement, because the outer part, the plastic outer part, got cracked. And I mean, it was fine. I rode home, nothing, I could have kept it on there. Everything would have been fine. Wouldn't even notice a difference. But, I've had these other pedals on here, which are spike pedals. They're like they're BD spike pedals right here. And I'll show another picture as well. I bought them for the 16X just because I was curious, because I saw that like all the EUC riders on YouTube and shit, they use these, and I just wanted to see what it was going to be like, if it was going to be better. And be honest, I didn't like them. I mean, they're really big. At first, I didn't like them. I felt they were too grippy, and there was more of it was more of a hassle than not having them. And also, I liked sliding my feet around on the pedals to adjust my feet. And on the 16X, they're really big. And so the turning radius was smaller and blah, 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 blah. But long story short, I just didn't like them, and I preferred the sandpaper pedals, the original stock pedals. So I put them in a box, left them on my shelf, didn't touch them ever since, basically. And this was months ago. And then, this crash with the EUC, I was just like, fuck it, let's just see, because one of the pedals was kind of damaged a little bit. Let's just put them on the Sherman and see if they work out, see if I like them, see if I change my mind. Yeah, dude, within 10 minutes, fucking just felt like normal on the EUC. I don't know, maybe it was just like my experience at the time, but now it's like I don't have the same issues with it. It's probably there, but it's just like maybe I got better, maybe I'm doing my pads different now, where I can move my feet, but I don't have any issue moving my feet around if I want to. And I think I might prefer them. The other thing I want to talk about is the thing that broke on here that wasn't crash related was, I would say, the weak point of any EUCs would probably be the trolley handles, the rails, because they're very thin, like, I don't know, what is it, like sheet metal or something? It basically broke on me, and that's just from trawling it around. Like, it cracked, and eventually it broke down the seam, and it just broke, and I couldn't put the handle back on it, on the Sherman, so I had to buy another one. And so that was that. I would say any weak points on any EUCs are the trolley handles. Very weak, because they're very thin, and with the weight of the EUC and the way I'm working all the time, and I'm popping it up and trawling it around, eventually it's gonna break. That's probably like the one thing. But other than that, I mean, this thing's, the maintenance on this thing is very, very little compared to a bike. Like, bikes are maintenance hogs, dude. At least the bike I have, like when you're doing my electric bike, maybe it's because it's a cheap e-bike, I don't know. But the brakes are always going out. You always got to replace the brakes. You always got to replace the brake lines. The freaking tires going flat all the time. You got to get slime for the tires. What else, dude? I can go on and on and on. Always something going on with them freaking bikes. You always got to do maintenance. But with these, just maintenance free, dude. All you gotta do is plug it in at the end of your shift, let it charge, bam, you're ready to go. Maybe put a little PSI in it here and there. That's it. Because the robustness of this fucking tire is a beef, dude. Is beefy, bro. I've gone over like shards of glass, like big pieces of glass, and like nothing. If that would have happened to my bike, my fucking tires would have exploded probably. It's like, yeah, dude, like the maintenance on the EUC compared to a fucking bike it's amazing. At least this EUC. So props to this EUC. Cool. So the other pretty cool thing is, for those of you guys who are doing food delivery, you probably know about Cornershop. It's with Uber. And basically it's like Instacart, but you could do it with the bike if you want. And it's a different app than the Uber app. You can use it to shop. It's like a driver app, right? You got people that order, and then you got these list items from a grocery store, usually like Morton Williams around here or whatever. And you go pick up those items, and then you go drop it off to the customer. Now, I completely forgot about this app, because I've been looking for something else besides the apps I'm using lately, because the market has been much slower than it's ever been, which is, I'm going to talk about later, because it has been incredibly slow. So I've been looking for other apps and shit like that, and I forgot about Cornershop. I saw some other YouTuber who was doing food delivery, and they were doing Cornershop. I'm like, oh yeah, because I couldn't do Instacart Because Instacart, you need a car, but Cornershop, yeah. And I already had the card to shop with and everything. I just never used it because I didn't like shopping because it felt like it took so much time. But because the market's been so slow, I'm like, why not? And had I known this earlier, when the market first started getting slower, this might have saved my ass a little bit, you know, because there's been a couple times where the shifts were like below minimum wage. And if I had this Cornershop, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But without getting into too much detail, Cornershop, let's just say I've added that to what I'm doing now. So now I'm doing Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Cornershop now. So I got 4 apps running. And like I said, I don't mind doing Cornershop right now because it's so slow. I'm not stacking really. And I've done about 3 orders with Cornershop so far. So I'm still a newbie with it. I'm still trying to figure out the app. I don't think it's like as good as all the other apps. I don't think Uber's put as much time into it as like, you know, DoorDash has put into their apps, or Grubhub or Uber Eats has put into their shit. So, you know, it has its things, and I'm still learning. I'm still a noob with it. There's still some things to learn about it. Say my first experience with the app, it was frustrating. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. It took me like an hour to like pick up 5 items, and it was basically fruit, and it was all in the same section. It took me like an hour to do that for like $20 or something, and I'm just like, nah. I'm like, I ain't doing that again. It's too stressful. Like, I don't know what the hell a white peach is, for instance. It's like, where do I weigh these things? Because you got to do them, you got to weigh them by the pounds, and then you got to like find the prices, put the prices in yourself, do the receipts. And I'm just like, nah, I ain't doing this again. So that first experience was trash. Second experience, still a little stressful. Third experience, cake, dude. I got an order for like $14.50. That was going like less than a mile altogether. And it was for gum and like Advil. And then, so that took me like no time at all. Like $14.50 for like 15 minutes maybe. And then when I dropped it off, I got a $5 tip on top of that. So it ended up being like a $20 order for fucking gum and like Advil. So that's great, because that's telling me if I get my game up and I strategize with Cornershop, that can help me out. And right now it's really important because the market is slow, you know. If I want to maintain a higher dollar per hour range, then I'm going to need Cornershop to help me out. Just like these drivers in their cars, man, you know, they're using Instacart along with other apps, and it's helping them out, but I can't do that. So I got Cornershop, awesome. The ironic thing is Uber has decided recently, I don't know if you've seen the news from other YouTubers, but they're putting Cornershop inside the Uber Eats app, the main Uber driver app, you know, so it's not a separate app. It used to be a separate app. So they're gonna do that. And in my market, I think they're doing that like sometime in August, maybe the 15th of August. Every market's gonna be different, but it's gonna happen on the 15th of August, so about a month from now. But like I said, I wish I would have known this earlier. I would have been using the Cornershop app earlier, but I didn't know that. But anyway, they're gonna combine it, so that's good. Less apps, more options. So let's briefly talk about how the market's been. It has been so fucking slow, dude. Like, way slower than I've ever seen. I started last August, so it's almost been a year. I got like one more month, I think, until a full year I've been doing this. And when I started, it was hot, bro. Like, I'm getting so much orders that I can stack. And that's the thing is, let's do some terminology real quick. So when people say double orders or stacked orders, those are 2 different things. Like, let's say, for instance, a double order is when an order comes in with Uber, and it's one order. Okay, you got one order. And then they add on another order while you're picking up that order or dropping it off. Or usually when you're picking up the first order, they'll add on another one from a different merchant. That's a double order. That's called a double order. So you got 2 orders from the same company. They just combined it at a later time. Or sometimes you'll get a double order right off the bat. It'll say, you know, you got 2 orders right here you need to pick up from this place or that place, and you got to drop them off. Those are double orders. A stacked order isn't allowed. A stacked order is against these food apps rules. They don't want you to do that because stacked orders use multiple apps, use multiple company apps, right? So you got, for instance, a stacked order would be like an Uber order plus a DoorDash order. And because, you know, their competitors, they don't want you to stack orders, and they also say, you know, it fucks up your drop-off times, it fucks up the estimated times. It's against, you know, you could be, you know, it's bad. You're not supposed to do that, right? But everyone does that because if not, you know, in some markets you would get like less than minimum wage. And I think the companies know this. It's just they say don't do this. You're not supposed to do this. But anyway, everyone stacks who uses multiple apps. That's the point. That's the only reason they have multiple apps. And you almost have to do it, or you're going to be getting shit money. You might as well get a fucking 9 to 5 somewhere. You know, working at McDonald's, you're going to get paid more unless you stack in some markets. So that's a stacked order. Now, you can have a double order and a stacked order together. You know, if you got an ideal thing where, you know, the orders are going to the same location, pickups are close by, whatever, and you feel like you can do 3 orders. Let's say Uber throws a double order at you, and they're going in the same direction, you know that. And then all of a sudden, DoorDash comes out of nowhere, throws an order that's actually going in the same direction, the pickup's the same location, close by. You can actually do that double order with Uber, and then pick up that stacked order with DoorDash, and now essentially you just added, you know, that much more money onto the double order for almost the same amount of time. That's stacking an order. That's what's going to get you the most money doing these food apps. That is what I strive for. That is what anyone that multi-apps does. That is what they strive for. Now, I give you that terminology so you can understand what I'm about to talk about next. Okay, so the market's been really slow. I haven't even had enough orders. I've been getting double orders, like, you know, that kind of gets typical. You know, with Uber lately, they've been throwing a lot of double orders, but they're really small. You know, it could be like 2 double orders for like $8 total, right? So it's like each one of those orders for the double order is like $4. You know what I'm saying? It's super small. And so I'm even declining double orders from like Uber and shit because they're so small. Like a double order, $8, which with each drop off being $4, follow me here. But it's like 3 miles, like $8 for 3 miles for 2 orders. Like, nah, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the kind of shit that I've been getting lately for at least a month, maybe a month and a half. I don't know, I'd have to look back, but it's been a while, okay? And on top of that, orders are coming in so inconsistent with like all these apps on at the same time. Like, that's how slow it is. I haven't had the opportunity to stack orders. Like, yeah, I might get an order here and there that I'll take, but I'm not getting other orders from other apps coming in simultaneously to where I can actually have an opportunity to stack. So basically, for like at least a couple weeks now, at least a few weeks now, I just been doing single orders, you know? Single double orders or just single orders. I haven't been stacking orders. And stacking is the bread and butter. That's the stuff that's gonna multiply your earnings. So my earnings have not gone above, I think I hit like $29 per hour on one day, and it was like a Sunday. But other than that, like, I haven't had anything really go above mid-20s for like a month and a half. It's